Well, this gets a yup from me.
Oh, boo.
The best ones are booze. The best ones are the ones that make you upset. Like,
Just gonna steal a joke from Twitter, and just like at some point in the case in the course of the next 10 years of Jordan Peele's filmography, he will eventually form a sentence.
I do love the get out. Us? Nope. Like, just
So I
I
we're
hope the next movie is called like, but why not? Or like, but you gotta. Like, it's just like this
next one's just called maybe question mark.
please.
Thank you! Exclamation point. Yeah. So hi everyone.
So yeah, we saw Nope, which separately, but we saw Nope, which
Yep.
is Jordan Peele's third excursion, and one that is, you kind of could tell from the trailers that it's what it's about, in general,
In
but
general,
there's so much more to it
of
than
course
that.
it is because it's the Jordan Peele film, and the man is like, with 3 fucking movies, has already demonstrated he is a master of his craft.
Oh yeah, just
Um,
unbelievable talent there.
and like this is like, by the way, this is like the last thing I did when I was in San Diego last week. At the last day and the last night, at like midnight, I'm watching this fucking movie, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna wake up and drive 8 hours. Think about this.
It's not a short movie.
Not. I think I started at like 9. I was like, it wasn't that late, like 9 to 11. But I was like, I gotta wake up early tomorrow. What am I doing?
Yeah. But I don't know, there's something about this movie that's the other ones were so directly conceptual that this one, while seeming like it's a little broader and simpler in its general plot, I feel like it has another level and kind of depth to it.
I'm still kind of trying to parse out what the metaphor and intention was behind this, because that's like, so with Jordan Peele's other 2 films, like it was so very clearly about something
Mm-hmm.
other than what it was, like other than just the concept. That this one is like, I'm pretty sure there's a part where they just kind of make it very explicit based on just what they call the thing, without going into spoilers.
Um,
That's what's hard to talk about this movie right now, is because like there's a lot to talk about, but it's so hard to talk about it without giving away plot details, and you don't want to do it
yeah,
because like the reveals are so incredibly important
yeah.
to the
Well, they
overall
also
movie.
like at this point in the trailers, like you could like they make it very explicit that it's a flying saucer, right?
Yeah, like that part's not a like that's not a
Yeah.
spoiler.
But there's more to it when you actually like start understanding more about what's going on, and like, yeah, just the nature of the situation in general a bit better. Um
But one thing I can't say about this movie compared to Jordan Peele's other movies is that I think more than his other works, this is the one that legitimately made me just go, oh shit, and shrink down to my chair just a little bit. Just because, yeah, it is a flying saucer and is like a horror sci-fi with aliens stuff like that, but the way it's shot and the way they design this ship, or like the what's I'm sorry, I'm a little tired again. I
no,
just
dude,
like,
go
this is
for
my first day back. Um, and the way they make it move, and the way that, like, they hide it for a good chunk of the film, pretty much. Kind of like the less is more approach to horror, which I always think is more effective. And the way they keep those POV shots, so you never feel disconnected from the characters. All creates this very intimidating at presence whenever this fucking thing is even might be on screen. And it's very effective horror, and it's very
yeah.
it's very good at what it does, and the cinematography, and the choreography for how these scenes are shot is just outstanding.
it does such an incredible job with tension.
Yes.
Jordan Peele, like Get Out and Us both had their own elements of like, it's interesting, like each one has had its own different approach to horror. Like Get Out was very much kind of a paranoid thriller, and Us was more like straight up almost slasher horror in a way with a
Yeah.
twist, where you're being pursued by this thing. This has an element of like there's a tension that's built in some of the scenes, and in
Yeah.
particular there's one scene that is a recurring motif throughout the movie, which you only hear the audio of within the first part of the movie,
Mm.
but as you go through the movie there are different flashbacks to this incident
Yeah.
that reveal a little more of it each time, and each time it's just a like it's more horrifying
Yep.
and like intense to experience. And the way that it builds the tension with that was one of my favorite little bits of the movie. Like the
Yeah.
way that it was done just through audio at first. So you kind of understood the general timing and pacing of things that happened throughout the scene. So that when the scene actually starts happening again later and you hear audio that you remember from before, you know that something's going to happen. You
Mhm.
don't know exactly what it is, but you know you're about to see something unpleasant.
Yeah.
And each time it comes back in and it gets like a little further in the scene and you learn a little more about it, it's like a new level of like, oh God. And when you finally see the whole thing, it is fucked. Like
Yep.
it is, it's, it's
Extremely
a,
fucked.
it's a daring thing to put into a movie.
And that actually that brings up a good point. Like let's talk about the sound design for a minute here.
Oh God.
Because the sound design so good.
Incredible.
Like even right off the offset of the film, like the way they set this up is actually kind of brilliant in the that a majority of the movie takes place on this horse ranch, where they train like Hollywood horses. And like right at the bat when they establish just how far the echo reaches through this farm and how that comes into play later when the more horror elements are get introduced,
Mm-hmm.
and they just continue to play with that for the entire film and just play these ungodly unearthly sounds.
God, the general sound design of the ship is
Like haunting.
yeah.
And it I think it understands what makes movies like this so good is really is like the less you see of it, the more your imagination fills in the gaps. That's something he said on an interviews. And the more you fill in the gaps, the more terrifying it becomes until you make the actual reveal towards the end of the film. And like, yeah, again, Jordan Peele just knows what the fuck he's doing. To quite frankly unnerving degree.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this a second time
Mm.
because there are things that you understand at the end of the movie, like even certain elements of the sound design,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like the sound that it makes when it gets closer sometimes. Like in the first scene of the movie, you hear something and you don't know what it is or why it sounds like that. But when you find out later, you suddenly realize what was happening, even in that first scene, and you're like, oh fuck. Like it's effective. It's
Yeah.
really effective.
Yeah.
I had an interesting time with the characters because honestly, I kind of fucking hated his sister.
She
Uh
grew on me.
she grows on you, but like I really hated her initially. And I especially fucking hated Angel, like as a character. He
Oh,
was
the fucking best.
the Geek
Like the.
Squad dude.
By the
Like,
way, what a weird time to see a Fry's endorsement in a
yeah,
movie.
right. Like, well, oh yeah, the Fries, not Geek Squad from Best Buy, but like this dude from Fries who is just like intensely enthusiastic about their situation because like they're really weird and shifty about them buying like cameras to try to catch this thing on film.
Mhm.
And as he's setting it up, he's just kind of like, Why do you want it pointed up at the sky? Mm. And then installs this horse security system. And while he's doing it, he just starts talking about aliens and UFOs. And clearly, he's just a UFO enthusiast. And so he gets deeply personally invested in their situation. And he's just this annoying dude that they're constantly dismissing and just like trying to get to go away. And it's weird because Angel's fucking annoying and an absolute dipshit, but I kind of loved him like faster than I should have because I knew, and very quickly I knew what his purpose was in the movie.
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't meant to like genuinely like this guy from the start. He is absolutely the frosted hair, like
douchebag, yeah,
dipshit douchebag, like kind of desperate, lonely, but also just kind of irritating guy, like who just talks too much and doesn't understand social cues. Like, oh man, but yeah, it was fun. Dude, when he started talking about his ex-girlfriend when he was getting out of the truck, I was like, oh god, Angel, no. Like, this is your customer. Don't start talking about your ex.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
That was so funny to me.
And again, that just like, oh god, like even if you don't like the characters, at the very least they're interesting. And they're still engaging to watch, and it's so visually interesting. And every bit of this is interesting the more I think about it. The set designs, like the way everything's orchestrated, even like that fucking, and this isn't a spoiler, it's in the trailer. When the motorcycle dude pops up with his fucking mirror helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even that like didn't need to go all out as it did, but it's still like, okay, you did it and it's cool to look at. So, and just seeing where all of it goes, and just the way just the tension finally pays off, and how it culminates
Mm-hmm.
Into this really massive finale. That reminded me of, what was that movie with the underground worms? Tremors, yeah.
I actually didn't think about that. Yeah, it's got some Tremors vibes to it with how they're trying to like outsmart this thing and like trying to figure out like how to get this ship to fucking like either like, because they can't destroy it, right? That's obvious. Yeah. So they got to figure out like, how do we fucking protect ourselves? How do we get this thing out of here? Like, how do we like, it's so weird the way that it reaches its finale. And the finale itself is just this amazing sequence of events.
Yep.
And even in the middle of all of this, Jordan Peele, just the moments of comedy, like the moments of comedy in this movie, especially where you get to hear the word nope.
Yep.
Like there's one particular moment. There's one particular moment with the main dude in a car.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it is like, it's in the middle of a moment that's genuinely frightening.
Yep.
And just there's something he does, which is one of the funniest fucking things in the movie. It's so good, and it's so like weirdly appropriate in that moment. It's like I get it. No, I get why you did that. Doesn't mean much, but I get it.
I feel like that'd be me in that situation. Just
nope. And that's the thing. That's like, I do appreciate that one of the points in Jordan Peele's like filmography so far has been to consistently undermine horror tropes that don't make sense, because you always have the horror trope where you have the dumbass, usually white person, go like, I heard something outside, I wonder what's outside, I'm going to go outside in my pajamas. Hello? Is anybody outside? I'm gonna not look behind me and leave my door to my house open. Like, all these dumbass fucking things. And he consistently has the characters in his movies have very reasonable reactions to the things that they're seeing. And just the moments where these characters are just like, like it's so good.
It's like
It's funny because it's realistic and it's relatable, but at the same time, it's just you might expect the scene to go a certain way based on horror conventions, and they're like, "Why would you do that? I'm not doing that." Like,
it's like
just the scene in the stables with the like, it was just that moment where he's like, nope. It was like just it was so good, man.
It's like
yeah,
that one Camille Nanjiani sketch where he's talking about like people like me don't see the end of horror movies. We're like the person, the scientist that goes looking for the cat, and that's just it for us. We like everyone else is like, oh, we got to run away from the monster. Like, but people like me, our story plot is we're working at a lab, and the cat is missing.
Hey, who left the cage with the ravenous monkeys in it open? I guess we should look for the monkeys or just talk about it for a while instead of getting the fuck out of here.
Again, just nope.
Yeah, they have a humanity-ending virus. Maybe we should leave. Like some shit like that.
And it's been a while. And again, I can't even just. We'll talk about when we get into spoilers, but it's been a while since I've seen a movie in this particular genre done this well.
Yeah.
That understands it to a T.
Yeah.
And it's really refreshing, honestly. And it goes through like, again, you can do a lot with very little, because even like the sets, as much to utilize them to their most effective way, in the most effective way possible, are relatively simple. But it's all in how they utilize it and the way they take advantage of the space they have and all the creative things they do with it that makes it stand out, that makes it memorable.
I think he's working with the same DP on this that he did before.
Oh, is he?
I think so. I'll look it up, make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. But yeah, I think one of the things that makes Jordan Peele such a good horror filmmaker is that he isn't just trying to make a good horror movie. He's trying to make a good movie.
Yeah, for sure.
All three of his movies, aside from being horror movies, are just flat out good movies. They're well-made movies. They're well directed, they're well written, they're well acted, and they're smartly plotted in a way that makes it interesting to watch the experience unfold, but also makes it interesting to rewatch. It's something you want to talk to your friends about. It's something that's unique and interesting. And it like he has a knack for this. He's 3 for 3 at this point.
Oh yeah.
And it's really impressive.
Absolutely. And I think it's because he does have such a clear voice and he does know exactly what he wants to say with these films.
Yeah.
And he
has a vision.
He has a vision of what he wants, and he has enough experience in the industry to know how to convey that image, and then everything else just kind of comes from that. And that's how you know you have a good. That's how you have a good writer. That's how you know a good director on your hands when like it does feel effortless, even though you can clearly tell despite the everything about it that this took a lot of effort to get right.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Looks like I am talking out of my ass. However, the cinematographer on this is the same guy who shot Tenet, Ad Astra, which, while a dogshit movie, was definitely well shot.
Yep.
Dunkirk.
Okay, that tracks.
Spectre, Interstellar, Her, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, The Fighter, and Let the Right One In.
Okay.
So
I've seen all of those.
He's good.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Her, but I actually watched a video the other day that mentioned just how good Her looks.
Her is a gorgeous movie.
Yeah, like it's just beautifully shot. So yeah, this dude makes this movie look incredible. It's really well composed, and the editing's great. Like it's just a really well-made movie. And I think that I think this movie is going to get underappreciated by some people just taking it at surface value.
Yeah.
Um, because the metaphors and the messaging and the actual horror elements of Get Out and Us were a little more direct.
Yeah.
And this one is a little more metaphorical with its metaphor, I guess. Like it's a little
It's
more abstract.
it's not as explicit with
Yeah,
its intention
it's a
as
bit more open to interpretation.
yeah. I'll be very curious what your
Um,
interpretation is because I'll admit I haven't come with a concrete theory yet. But
I've got a couple. We'll get to that in spoilers.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, in any case, I don't know. I feel like
I feel like I've
anything
talked about
else you want
everything I
to say?
can without getting into spoilers
Yeah.
here.
So 100% worth seeing in theaters.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's
Go see it in Adobe if you can.
yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun time. It's a good movie and it's good horror.
Yep.
And once again, he manages to make a movie that you think you know what to expect. You don't. It's so much more than you think it is.
Yeah.
So
So spoilers.
spoilers.
3, 2, 1. Okay, they've been warned successfully. All right.
So this is potentially a metaphor for racism.
It wouldn't surprise me since that does fit in with Jordan Peele's other works.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
um, Racism or capitalism in general, but generally just a white supremacist mechanism that kills anyone who looks directly at it. Like uh this whole idea that if you are trying too hard to document it um or to let people know about it, they won't believe you, they'll think you're crazy even though you know what you saw, even though it's clear as day, and like people might think you're just insane for trying to say it and they'll gaslight you and all that stuff. But yeah, there's layers to it.
yeah,
There's also, I saw one theory which said that it may just be about the treatment of animals in Hollywood on another level.
you can make that argument.
And I saw another theory which said that it could be about the racism within the film industry itself, specifically.
I was kind of leaning something more in the film industry, although my interpretation, because they call like at one point they call the monster the viewer. So I was kind of wondering if like that was some kind of like
When they do that,
remember the oh god the guy who owns the rodeo.
Jupe,
Jupe, yeah. Like no, not Jupe. The one who gets eaten, his entire family gets eaten. Who used to be on the show with the monkey.
Jupe,
Okay, that is Jupe. I'm terrible at names. You know this.
Jupiter, Jupe.
Okay, so yeah, when
Steve
because like
Ewan.
when Jupe is
Ewan.
trying to get the viewer to work with him, he just says he calls it the viewer.
Mhm.
So I was wondering if that was maybe like a metaphor, like oh maybe it's like
Like it's
how
watching them.
it's like if you're what like it's more like it. I can't interpret it as like the all-consuming nature of entertainment. Like you're always trying to like appease the viewer, you're trying to capture the viewer's attention, but the more you look at it, the more it's like slowly take bits away from you until it just consumes you completely. That was kind of my interpretation of it.
If you give the viewers something that they don't like, they'll just fucking murder you and everyone you care about indiscriminately.
It's more like in the Hollywood industry. In the Hollywood industry, like it'll just choose you up and spit you out and see you as a person.
Yeah.
That was my
Although,
interpretation anyway.
metaphor aside, can we just appreciate the fucking scene with the blood?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh my god,
Fuck
that
yeah.
that was one of my favorite fucking horror moments ever.
Yeah, like I was
Ever.
so fucking good.
That was God. And when you realize what that like, because I always thought like, why does it sound like screaming?
yeah,
I knew
because
it sounded like screaming, but why does it sound like a bunch of people screaming?
Oh, you didn't figure that out? No.
Well, that's the thing though. When I got to the point where you find out, I was like, "Oh fuck."
Because I pieced it together right away. Like that was the one I
It's well, I didn't know if like people were being like experimented on or tortured or it was just using the sound. Like there are different things it could have been
that's
doing.
true. Yeah.
But when you find out what the screaming is
Yep.
and what's happening to those people,
Yep.
and you realize this thing has just been eating people for how long? Decades?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, a long fucking time. Um and it just it's fucking brutal as hell. And it kind of goes in to show the brilliance of like I guess you can technically call this a kaiju movie. Like in a kind of weird way.
in a weird way, yeah.
So like
It does fit the mold in a certain way. It fits certain criteria.
so like it's just like
Um,
this is easily like the best monster movie I've seen in a long fucking time.
yeah, that
Um,
twist when you realize the ship is not a ship, it's
just a
the
giant
alien
fucking
itself.
like the most evil kite you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, the visuals on that thing,
yeah,
fucking incredible.
there's some
Like
cool shit towards the end.
when it
Yeah,
starts losing its form as a ship, as a saucer, and starts unfolding into that weird fucking jellyfish thing,
yep,
like dude, that thing looked amazing. Not
yep.
just the design of it, but the quality of the special effects of the fabric itself.
And the way it moved, and even like when like had like its weird like green door thing.
Yeah, it just the general design of it was
Like
so ingenious and original and creative. Like I it was just looked so fucking cool.
and even before that, before you even saw the full thing, when it was just like moving around the sky, the way they made it move was like just unnatural enough to just make it unsettling. And it like you only see it moving blinks at a time. Because
Yeah.
I remember like early on when it's like JD was that his name?
OJ.
OJ, I was close. Was like OJ is like hiding underneath like the stables and the things that's kind of moving outside. The way it just kind of just turns in just a little too sharp of a turn that doesn't make any sense for it to do. Just those little tiny touches that just make it just really unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
That really play on your senses, and of course, the more it culminates into just again just a giant disc with a killer mouth.
Yeah. And that's like the way that I have never seen a UFO used like this in a movie.
Yep.
Not just after the monster reveal, but just before that, when you're talking about like when you're talking about how it flies around
Yep.
and like you're talking about with the movement, but also how it pursues them at times, like how it's just such a creative way of doing this.
Yeah, and like how it kind of creates implied rules and then just completely breaks them.
Yeah,
Toward the third act because like it's kind of implied the majority of movies like if you have a roof over your head, it's not going to chase you. You're safe there. And then like the third act just was fucking nope.
fuck you. Like, I'm angry. Fuck you. Um, God, but I do like the idea that looking at it
Yeah,
is what makes you vulnerable to it. That's a really interesting concept.
which is kind of what brought me like made me think of Tremors, and it's in a very similar way.
Touching
And
the
that
ground.
yeah, if you touch the ground, it'll chase after you. In the same case, if you look at it, it's gonna chase you, kind of a way.
Mhm.
Like and especially since like it's a large desert field, it kind of has a western vibe.
Mhm.
There's a whole bunch of other crazy shit going on, and it does eventually lead into a chase. So yeah, it does kind of fit the Tremors mold in a weird way.
Yeah.
Even though
So yeah, no, I
this is
feel
a better
you.
movie than Tremors, by the way.
Oh, 100%. Not to say Tremors is not a camp horror classic.
Oh, I
Let's
love Tremors for what it is, but it is cheesy
yeah.
as fuck.
But yeah, totally. I
It's so good.
there's
I love a good monster movie. Like,
like I feel like there's room for interpretation or whatever to figure out the rest of this stuff.
oh, I'm sure someone's gonna do a
Um,
deep dive like video
yeah,
when this comes out.
I just like I wanted to toss a couple theories out there and just kind of like I don't want to. I think I'm happy with where we've got them, at least there. Like, there's no need to debate them to death.
No,
Like, and there's no real answer. It's just such an interesting concept of something predatory and malicious that you can't quite figure out and you can't quite necessarily make friends with. Although that lends a certain thing to the racism part where like, um, you know, Jupe thought that he'd made a deal with it, but then it got angry and it betrayed all of it. Like there are people who think they can make deals with racist people and kind of appease them and live in the way that they think they
yeah,
want to like be like think they can coexist by just accepting the racism and then it just turns on them. Like
yeah, for sure.
it's little things like that. It's God,
On that
it's so
note,
good. I need to see it again.
let's talk about the monkey.
Monkey.
The killer monkey that this movie opens with, covered in blood and just kind of just casually kicking a dead woman's boot that just beat to death 2 seconds, well, almost beat to death.
So she's not dead. You find that out later.
Kind of thought she would be play a bigger role in the movie. I was kind of surprised she was only for like a minute.
He ate her face.
Yeah, she did.
She's alive.
It's gross.
It's you don't see it per se, but you see
You
enough
hear it.
implication. You hear it. You see the rest of its body while it's eating her face, and you see like the motions that its body is making as it's taking bites, and you have enough to fill in the blanks quite graphically for yourself, and it is very effective implied violence.
Yep. And again, that goes back to the sound design because you don't see the monkey beat the fucking shit out. Not just her, but like the random, like the dad actor comes down and who like chases down and just beats savagely.
Yeah.
But it does kind of foreshadow what like Jupe eventually does, which is make a deal with an animal that will kill him. Yeah. Because like even then, like the monkey still goes in for a fist bump because that's what he was trained to do. Which like first I was like, oh,
an
he's dumb enough.
Exploding fist bump that explodes like never before. The most explodey fist bump.
I don't know. Like I think this isn't even a criticism. It's just a weird quirk. Like I don't know if I went through like easily the worst experience of my life. I don't know if I'd have a secret room in my office dedicated to it.
That's the thing, though. I think that there's an interesting thing to be said about the way that he processed that trauma.
That's true. Yeah, and like I said, that wasn't a criticism movie. That's more just an observation.
No, I know, but like I think that's an interesting implication of how he processed the trauma and the fact that he turned it into something that he could profit off of.
Yeah,
but mostly just this little secret side thing that he has for himself, for the most part, and I don't know. Again, there's something there. There's something about that. I'm still wondering about the shoe. I'm trying to figure out what the shoe meant.
Yeah, like the best guess I had for the shoe was that it was kind of like, again, kind of foreshadowing what eventually happened, which is like taken upwards.
No, but that's the thing. Why was the shoe doing that? Because it's not just like an artistic foreshadowing. It was very deliberately, clearly doing what it was doing for a reason.
Well, was it a heel or was it a ballerina shoe? I couldn't remember.
No, it was just a normal like little girl's flat.
Okay.
And it had the one drop of blood on it and was standing perfectly straight up on its heel.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I just can't remember what kind of shoe it was because it was a ballerina shoe that I can go back into, like, giving yourself to the viewer to perform.
No.
Or like,
I mean, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a ballerina shoe.
Yeah, I know.
It was just a normal shoe, but like,
yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. Like, this is the case where I'm going to wait for smarter people than I to.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Hey, y'all in the comments, fucking say something. Like, what do you think the shoe was? Like, I don't know.
Definitely a case where, like, I don't fucking know, man.
I'd be interested to see both theaters, but
I'm sure there will be. It's definitely one of those. It's a thinker. It's definitely one of those movies that will absolutely have theories, and I'm all here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is just It's a fucking Jordan Peele movie.
Mhm.
I don't know how the bastard does it. It kind of upsets me, to be honest.
I don't know, but I'm already really excited for whatever he does next because
Yeah,
surprised every time,
yeah,
and
like
it's just a delight. I wonder if he will ever miss, and if he misses, it will be with a movie that's just like a pretty good movie instead of a great one. Like
yeah,
his
no,
miss will just be like it was all right, and it'll probably be because he was like I just wanted to make like I didn't want to like go really crazy with saying something this time or trying to be super innovative. I just wanted to make a decent movie of this type because I've always wanted to. Like it'll be totally intentional on his part.
it's still you know the story of how he got these and became a director, right?
No,
Oh, you don't know this?
no.
Oh, this is fascinating. The reason he became a director is because of the Emoji Movie. I'm not
Something
kidding.
good did come of it. We can thank that. We can tell Patrick Stewart that it wasn't in vain.
Yeah, but like that's funny you mentioned that because the reason he decided to become a director is because he got offered the role of the poop emoji. And apparently he was so distraught with that offer that he basically just had a "what am I doing with my life" kind of a moment. This is what people are offering me. What the fuck
Wow.
am I doing? So he was like, I'm gonna go all in on this artistic creation. I don't want to be just a comedy guy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we got Get Out. And the rest is history. So if there's one bright spot of the most cynical, one of the most cynical movies I've ever seen, it
Mm-hmm.
is at the very least it gave us Jordan Peele, who is like so far has a spotless record. Knock on wood.
Which he has quickly come to realize is something that he's really fucking good at
Yeah,
and he enjoys doing. So bless.
yeah.
Fucking
Like
hell
all the
yeah.
credit to him, man. Like keep that shit going.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude. Like this is the case where I wish I was smart enough to come more complex theories about this one. On a first viewing, but I
Whatever,
would
man. It's a good fucking movie.
just but at
And
the
like,
yeah, like that's my general point is like, but at the same end of the day, you don't need to.
yeah.
You can if you want to. There's a lot you can get out of it. But if
Oh
you want to enjoy it just
no.
on its surface for what it is, you can totally do that too.
We'll have to watch it again. Oh no.
But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. Do you got anything else?
Like and subscribe. Yeah.
It's
Smash that bell. Like I
oh
don't
god.
fucking hate YouTube culture sometimes.
I refuse on general principle to say shit
I
like
know. No, I feel you. I feel you. That's a good line to draw. Anyway, yeah, Nope is good. Go watch it.
it is. I'm
It's
still
dope.
gonna try desperately to catch up, and I say that every week, and every week I fail.
Well, it's
Uh,
fine. Just do what you can and put out what you can, and we'll be fine.
um, Thank you. I appreciate those kind
We still
words.
haven't done the dinosaurs,
We have not done the dinosaurs.
and I'm too tired to do it.
We're
Do
not
another
gonna do it
time.
tonight.
So
What's
yeah.
probably gonna happen is I'm just gonna start looking up lists of like the best and worst stuff that we haven't seen towards it like
Yeah.
December and just binge all of them.
Hammer out a bunch of fucking movie reviews and just be like, all right, we did this to get our list. Here it goes. It's like every year, I feel like I don't have enough for the worst movie reviews because I just don't want to volunteer for all of them. And so I end up binging like painfully bad movies for a couple of days.
I still
And
remember that year,
oh,
a couple years ago, we did Tax Collector. And I'm just getting all these texts from you about it. You're watching this fucking
I'm
movie.
just like basically live tweeting Michael just through text, like personally, just like, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? This is hilarious. Like, what is this?
It's
And
a time of year I enjoy. Although I'm probably gonna have to do it too because there's been a lot of bad movies I'm not gonna have a chance to see this year
we
too.
can do
Because
it together this time, Michael. We can.
honestly, it's not the worst idea.
Yeah, it's movies like that are better with company. I mean, like, I'm still glad we did Dear Evan Hansen together last year because that was astonishing.
Fuck.
His friend killed himself. You won't believe what he does next.
One movie I definitely want to watch because I've been hearing great things about it. It's one of the, like I don't usually do streaming movies. I like on very rare occasions I do.
Yeah.
But I do want to watch Prey when that comes out in a week or two on Hulu.
Uh,
That's the new Predator movie.
oh, that's a cute title, I guess. Um,
But like everything I've heard about it is just because it premiered at San Diego Comic Con. I didn't see it, but it premiered there, and it's just been getting
all right.
it's been getting great reviews, like fresh voice, like
Cool.
great direction. But it's only on Hulu, which is stupid.
Well, I mean, some movies just premiere on certain platforms, but I'm gonna be real with you, man. I'm fading fast.
All right, we'll wrap it
So,
up there. So
way to wrap it up. So,
oh shit, well there goes my camera.
Jesus, so aggressive.
Bye.
You can say bye. All right, everyone.
Good night, everybody.